In this video, we're going to go over how to create a website from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to have to create an account with a web host. Now, I recommend StableHost for newbie websites and for beginning professional websites. They're a great company. They have very good pricing and very good service. Now, if you click on the link that I'm providing, I will get a very small commission on that. So just so you know. From here, just click sign up now. And the only thing you're going to need for a new website is the unlimited starter program, their cheapest option. As you grow bigger, you might want to upgrade, but that's for later. For now, you're going to have to register a domain name. Now, I'm assuming that if you're creating a new website, you don't have a domain name yet. So we're not going to cover the other options in this particular video. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to enter a domain name. So in this case, I'm wanting to register pbanursing.org. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in pbanursing.org, or actually .com in this case, just so you can see what it looks like. I'm sorry, pbanursing.com is already taken. And then it gives you a large list of other possible domain names that you could use. Now in this case, their second suggestion, pbanursing.org, is the one I actually want. And if you keep scrolling down, you're just going to see there's a huge list of suggestions. You can feel free to take any of them, or you can go back and try again. So in this case, what we're going to do is we are going to come back up to the top. We're going to choose that pbanursing.org. And then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and click continue. Now, you'll notice it's telling you it's $14.95 for 1 year. If you go with a dedicated domain name registrar such as Namecheap, you can get it for $2 less, but it's a bit more complicated. And since this is a newbie guide, let's go the path of least resistance. $2 a year extra isn't that much for the sake of convenience. So click continue. And then it'll take us to the next screen. In this next screen, we're going to have some options that we can select for our new web hosting plan. So the first thing, you get to choose if you want to change your domain options. You also get to choose a billing cycle. Now, we're going to be using a 40% off coupon that gets us 40% off our first order. So I would suggest choosing 12 months because that way you can get 40% off your entire year. If you go to 24 or 36 months, it's going to be a better deal, but 2 to 3 years is a long time in internet time, and even great companies, things can happen. So I would generally not recommend going with a cycle that's long. With all of these internet web hosting companies, you will not get your money back if you quit 1 year into it. You are purchasing something for the entire 3 years. So I would recommend going with 1 year. Next, you have SSH access, which is an advanced option. If you don't know what SSH is, you probably don't need it, but I'm going to choose it because I know that I already want it. And then there's host location. You generally want to choose the host location that is closest to where you live. I live in Florida, so I'm going to choose the Chicago option. So click continue, and it'll take us to the next page. The next page will allow us to hide our domain name registration information. We don't really need to do that for a professional blog, so just hit continue. And then it's going to give us a summary of our order, and that's going to be the web hosting plan plus the domain name registration. What we're going to do now is if you scroll down to the bottom here and put in PBA as a promotional code, you'll notice that we now have a 40% one-time discount. So our total today is going to be only $45.89 as opposed to $62.35. So now we're going to come down and we're going to enter our information. I'm assuming that you are a new customer since you're watching this newbie guide, and you're going to put your first name, last name, company name, all that kind of stuff as it pertains. And then if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you're also going to do your payment information. Now, I'm going to do this off screen, so I'll be back. All right, so at this point, we're back. I've put in all of my payment information and I've scrolled to the bottom of the screen, and you can click checkout. Before you do, make sure you click that I have read and agreed to the terms of service. Heck, you might actually want to read the terms of service. There's a thought. All right, and you get this nice confirmation page, and you can go ahead and click here to go to your client area, and then that is going to take you to your account profile. So now this is your dashboard, as it's called. It tells you your name and your address and the amount of services, domains, and support tickets and invoices that you have. Now at the moment you're, wait a minute, I just ordered service and it says 0. Well, as it turns out, StableHost uses manual fraud checking to make sure that all of the orders are correct. Now, if you notice, what just appeared in that bottom right, recent support tickets, is a support ticket, and it says that verification is needed. Now, they say that it takes about, well, they can say up to 12 hours before your account is verified, but as long as you place your order during business hours, as you saw, that was more like 30 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and open the email that we got from them, and it's going to tell us that we need to do a manual review for fraud. So at this point, we're going to click on that ticket, and it's going to tell us that we need to do phone verification. So if you open it up, it's basically going to say, give us your phone number, we will call you, verify that it's you, and then you'll be fully set up. Okay, we're back. Phone verification took about 30 seconds. And now I'm going to show you some of the emails that you're going to get. So this first email is going to give you your login name and details for how you access your account. Now that password that it gives you, you need to change that password. And don't worry, that password is different than what it shows right there. So your control panel is the control panel for your website. And it says once your domain is propagated, you can begin using a much easier link, which is just yourdomainname.org/cpanel. What it means by propagated is that there are directories on the internet, so that they're called domain name servers, DNS servers. And so anytime you put in a web host or a host name such as google.com or yahoo.com or gmail.com, your computer doesn't know what that means. So it's going to send that request to one of these domain name servers or directories, who are then going to say, oh, google.com, let me look that up. Okay, that is, and it tells you the actual numerical address, which you can see down below right here. So it takes a little bit of time when you register a domain name, or if you change your name servers, for all of those directories to get updated throughout the internet. So they say allow up to 12 or 24 hours for propagation, but most of the time, especially with new websites, within 5 minutes, you should really be ready to kind of at least begin working with it. If you keep scrolling down, you're going to get to an area for email settings. So you can now create an email account, such as, say your first name is Kate at yourdomain.com. So this is giving you the host address you would have to put into your email program in order to be able to send and receive mail from your new email address that we're going to set up in just a few minutes. So let's go back to the top of that email, and we're going to click on the control panel link. That's going to take us to our control panel, or cPanel, and we're going to log in using the username and password that they provided to us. You can just copy it right out of the email. Now once we log in, we're going to need to change that password. So now that we've logged in, we're going to go ahead and scroll down until we find the setting that is going to allow us to change our password. So at the very bottom, click on Change Password and change it to something that is good. Now, once you change your password, it's going to make you log in again. So go ahead and log in with your new password, and it'll take you back to this change password. Click on the StableHost at the top to go back to your main cPanel. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our email. Now there's two ways to set up email. I'm going to show you email accounts first. This is if you want to set it up so that you can actually send and receive email from your new domain name. So right under Add Email Account, where it says Email, put in the name you want. I'm going to choose Webmaster. And then you're going to choose a password. I highly recommend that it's a different password than the one you've already used, and then click Create Account. Once you create account, you're going to find that it creates a new account for you. The other way of doing it is to do what's called a forwarder. If you're already using work email or your student email address and you don't want to set up your primary email to be, me@mynewdomainname.com, then you'd probably want to use an email forwarder. So this is a little bit simpler to set up. So to set up a forwarder, first you're going to go to Add Forwarder, and then you're going to put in the name of the email that you want. So in this case, we want webmaster at our domain name. And we're going to forward that to an email that we check. And so in this case, it's going to be my work email. And then click Add Forwarder. There's some advanced options that you can use if you want to, but chances are you won't need them. So once you've added your forwarder, now you will receive any email that's sent to webmaster at whatever your domain name is. So now you can click on the Stable Hosts logo at the top to go back to your main control panel. And we're going to come back down to Authentication. Authentication is going to make it harder for people to send spam from your domain name. That's going to help prevent your website from becoming blacklisted by spam prevention services. So we want to make sure that DKIM and SPF are enabled. So just go ahead and click Enable if one of them is not enabled. So we're going to click Enable. There it is. Click on the Stable Host logo to go back to the control panel. Okay, so now we are ready to install WordPress. So go all the way down to the bottom of your cPanel and you'll see Softaculous Apps Installer. The very first app is called WordPress. Go ahead and click on it and then you'll see its version, whatever. And what you'll want to do is click on the Install button that is at the very top left. It's kind of easy to overlook sometimes. From here, we're going to have some options. If you did not purchase an SSL security certificate, you will not have HTTPS, you'll only have HTTP, but you'll need to decide whether you want to use www or what's sometimes called the naked URL, where you don't use www. I typically lean towards using the naked URL, but there are some reasons why you might want to use www. It's really just your preference. So just make sure that whichever one you choose, you're going to be consistent from then on. Okay, next we're going to come down to the directory, and we don't want to install this in a subdirectory. We want to install it in the main directory. So go ahead and delete that WP. A huge number of problems occur when people forget to do that, and then it installs in a subdirectory. Next, you're going to change your site name to be whatever your professional website is going to be called. So probably your name. If you're an organization, then you can put your organization name there. And if you have some sort of tagline or slogan, then you can put it under site description. You can also change these at any time in the main settings of WordPress once it's installed. So don't stress too much about, I've got to choose the perfect name and description. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to change our admin username. The default is admin, and so everyone in the world who might be looking to break into your website is going to try the username admin. So it's not a very big security measure, but it is nice to change it to something else. The next step is to choose a password. There is a password generator that you can use, which is that little key. So if you click on the key, it'll generate some what it considers strong passwords, but really hard to remember. So I generally recommend that you use a password that is easy to type in. So you mix real world words with numbers and some symbols. And so in this case, here you can see a little password that is 100% strength, but it's easy to type in. Now I'm not actually using this password, so don't try it out on the site. Next, you're going to change your admin email to whatever email you created in the earlier step. So we created the email address webmaster@pbanursing.org. So we're going to use webmaster@pba.org. You can check your language. Chances are you're going to be using English. And then there's a little security measure you can use, which is limit login attempts. If someone logs in or tries to log in unsuccessfully 4 times, it's going to lock out that particular IP address for 24 hours. Be very, very careful with this because you can lock yourself out of your own website if you are prone to forget your own password. Next, we have some advanced options. You can ignore most of these. The ones that I would consider is auto upgrade WordPress and plugins. And Also themes. So in general, if you're not very technological savvy, it might be a good idea to use these. The double-edged sword is if you have a lot of customization and a lot of different themes and a lot of different plugins, sometimes if you have them auto-update, they can actually break their functionality if you update them too soon. So that's really the only reason why you wouldn't want to do the auto-upgrade. The next option is automated backups, which I generally recommend that you turn on. Once a week is probably good. And then I like to have 4 backups. So that gives you about a month's worth of backups. Now, it's not going to prevent something bad happening if you get hacked. But if you delete a post by accident, or if you accidentally write over your post, it'll help with those sorts of things. Next thing we're going to do is hit install. And chances are it's going to be done before I'm even saying this very sentence, because even though it says it needs 3 to 4 minutes, it's usually done in like 15 seconds. Now we can come up to the website itself, and if everything went well, we should have a working website. Now here's our WordPress website. It's completely blank. It doesn't have anything other than the sample posts and page that came with it, but we have a website. In the next video, we're going to learn how to turn this blank WordPress installation into a professional blog or online presence. So again, if you appreciated what you saw here, click on the stable host link and I'll get a small commission. Thanks a lot.